Good evening and hello again, everybody. Back again with another quick video. Hopefully answer some of your questions on the Littlefield capacity simulation. If you've reviewed the syllabus and gone through Blackboard, you know that as part of the class we're going to have two passes using the Littlefield simulation. This is basically a very simple business model looking at operations, how you manage various aspects of operations to basically test some of your skills, improve your understanding of some of the content within the class and the text. So the simulation, we're going to have two passes. The first one will be a little simpler, called the capacity simulation. The second one will address customer responsiveness, will be later in the class. And it'll be a little more complex, but you'll build on what you've learned in the first pass, and hopefully it won't be too bad for you. So just to give you an idea, and I'll go through the dates in a second, I have already sent out an email to each of you individually that has the dates for the simulation, along with your individual ID and password to get into the simulation. So your ID, you can see down here, it shows team ID and password. These are the items that I sent you. And you'll notice it should be pretty familiar. If you have any questions or didn't receive the email, please give me a shout, because I sent these all out on the 11th, January 11th. So that's step one. So you're in the Littlefield simulation. You'll enter this information in, again, once it's available to you. And then the first screen you'll see will be this one. Basically, what you're looking at is a simplified factory operation. You start on the left with customer orders. We've got a database or a queue holding customer orders. We've got raw material up here, so all the various components that go into the assembly are up here in the warehouse. If you have the material and you have an order, the job will be released to the factory floor. This yellow box, if you will, is basically your factory. So we start in station 1, the queue. Materials sit here along with the order information and wait for an available machine. The machine does the work, in this case board stuffing, and then it goes to the next queue, waiting for the first available machine here. In this case, we're doing testing. If this is the first time through, the item will then go to station 3, tuning. Again, waiting for available machines, so they'll be piled up in this queue. Once tuning is complete, it goes back through testing again. If the item has gone through step 2 twice, or basically station 2 twice, it'll go out the door as a completed job. So if you look at this overall screen, you can click on various items on the screen to get some information, and I'll talk about what's available then. You can also get your overall standing, your cash status, and the updates, and you can also quit down here. So overall standing is going to say, okay, here are all the teams that are competing in the class. How are you doing against everybody else? You can see where everybody is, and if you're a highly competitive nature like I am sometimes, you can sit there and go, oh, what do I have to do to beat these other people out, whatever. And again, cash is going to tell you, what's available in your company bank book, what's available to spend if you want to buy equipment or what have you. So those little icons, here are the things that are available. Upper left here, your customer order queue. Remember these little databases that hold your customer orders. You can look at the customer orders by day, average number of orders waiting for kits by day. In the first pass, generally you're going to have enough raw material, so in general that number should be 0 or very close to it. Materials buffer. How much raw material do you have in stock in the warehouse? And then the station queues. For each station, you can click on the little queues ahead of time, so this will work for all 3 of the station queues, and it'll tell you how much is waiting, by day, if while all the machines are busy. And then finally, each station, I can click on here, and again, not just station 2, any of the stations. It'll tell you how many machines do you have available, what the policy is for scheduling, which is for the testing station only. And so basically for the testing station only, remember the testing station gets items. Let me go back. Here we go. The testing station here receives product from station 1, also receives product from station 3. So you'll have the option. Do you want to prioritize items coming from Station 1 to be done first? Do you want to prioritize items coming from Station 3 to be done first? Or do you want to do first in, first out? In other words, whichever station it comes from, doesn't matter. First one that gets to Station 2 gets completed first. And then again, if it's started at Station 1, it's going to go down here. If it started at Station 3, it's going to go out the door as a completed job. And then finally, the completed jobs. You can look at your number of orders completed every day, your lead time, which is very important, and then revenue per order per day. You know, the bottom line is the bottom line. How much money are you making as you're going along? Things that you may change. So this first slide was all the reporting and data that you can get out of the simulation. The next slide is, what can I change? And you are limited in this first run to basically changing two things. How many stations do you have, or how many machines do you have at each of the different stations, all three stations, 1, 2, and 3. And then this scheduling policy. Yeah, first in, first out, that should be first in, first out, sorry about that. And then priority to one of the two steps. So again, first in, first out, coming from Station 1 or coming from Station 3. Those are your choices on how you want to prioritize, and that's up to you. So I can buy machines here. I can sell machines. So if you have too much capacity, you can sell machines. But when you read the instructions, you'll find out that, you know, selling them, you don't make much money. Buying them is expensive. And again, remember your cash on the first slide. If you don't have enough money to buy a machine, the system won't let you do that. So a lot of students in the past have asked me give me some contextual information. And by that I mean, what is this a simulation of? So again, think of this as a business that delivers product that is seasonal, such as summer or winter equipment that would ramp up at the beginning of the season and ramp down at the end of the season. So since we're in the middle of winter, you might think of snow blowers or snowmobiles or what have you, as far as something that's going to ramp up early on and then slowly ramp down. You might also think of it as a full product life cycle. It's a product that's just been introduced. It's going to go up as far as volumes and then peak out and slowly go down. The dates, the system will be available for viewing. What I mean by that is, if you're used to computer jargon, it's read-only. In other words, you can look at things. You can look at the data that's in there. You will have data as if the business has been running for 50 days. So you'll be able to look at how the system performs over time over those 50 days. And so you can figure out, well, what kind of capacity do I have? How many items can a machine in Station 1 produce per day? How many items can I get through Station 2 per day? How many items can I get through Station 3 per day? You can do that analysis and try and figure that out for yourself. You can look at, how's my flow? What are my ups and downs as far as my order entries? So again, your orders are not going to be real smooth. It's going to be like the real world. There's going to be up days, down days, and what have you. It's up to you to forecast the trends and figure out, is my business flat? Is it going up? Is it declining? What's going on in my business? And then react appropriately. I don't want to have too few machines because anything I don't ship is an order I've lost. I won't get that business. If I have too many machines, though, I've got excess capacity. I've spent money I didn't need to, and that's going to hurt me as far as the business. So then that's going to start 8 a.m. Wednesday on January 18th. So let's see, today's the 12th. I'm putting this video together. So 6 days from now, basically, you'll be able to look at the simulation. Your logon ID will work, and ID and password will work, and you'll be able to look at it and do some analysis for yourself. So you'll spend a week. You'll have a week. Whether you spend it or not is up to you, but you'll have a week to prepare for the actual simulation. So when the simulation goes live at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, January 25th, what are you going to do? Are you going to watch it? Are you going to analyze it? Are you going to do something, not do something? What are your decision processes in alignment with that? How are you going to react? If you do something and the simulation acts differently than what you anticipated, what are you going to do about it? And then finally, the simulation will run for exactly a week. So the simulation will stop on 6 p.m. Wednesday, February 1st. And at that time, the simulation will run for a finite amount of time afterwards. So at that point, it's hands off. You won't be able to do anything, change anything, adjust anything. But the simulation will continue to run for a little while. In essence, this is to make sure you just don't leave the operation as a mess when you're done. It's still got to work effectively as a factory afterwards. And then your paper, writing up, what you did and everything else, and I'll talk about that in a second, is due Thursday, February 12th, and will be submitted through Blackboard. So the rubric for the paper, what was your strategy? And that's one of the things I want you to think about during that preparation week is, okay, what's your strategy? What are you going to do? What is your plan? Through the class material, you've seen there are different strategies the business takes. Am I going to get ahead of the curve? Am I going to make sure that I absolutely positively always have enough capacity? Or am I slightly ahead of the curve? Am I going to straddle the curve? So sometimes I have enough capacity, sometimes I don't, and try to optimize both worlds that way. When you think about this, at the end of the simulation, did you stick with your strategy? Or did you, in the heat of battle, go, oh my God, forget it, I'm going to go off and do something different? Did your strategy work for you at the end? If you were successful, obviously you're going to say, well, my strategy was great and I stuck with it. But if you didn't and your results weren't what you'd hoped, how could a different strategy have driven a different result? The next item is actions considered and implemented. So, really, like I said, the actions are you can buy a machine, you can sell a machine for all three stations. So right there, where you have 6 possible decisions, and then you can change, that first in, first out, or station 1, station 3 prioritization on station 2. What did you consider? I think I'm going to buy a machine at week 63 because I think the forecast is going to go up, blah, blah, blah. Sorry about that phone ringing. What did you do? What did you consider? And then how do you justify that? So again, this is not meant to be an exercise of, tossing a coin. I'm going to buy, I'm not going to buy. I'm looking for what is your strategy? What mathematical methods did you use to try and figure out, what the forecast is, what my capacity is? And then what key operational management themes like your SOCA and your DOM affected your outcome? These are the kind of things I'm looking for in your presentation. And then finally, the overall quality of your paper, the structure, the clarity, the correct use of white space, spelling, and grammar, and how those things tie out. So then, finally the paper quality and then how you submit it. So I want to go back to Blackboard very quickly because that's the end of the presentation. If I look at Blackboard, once you log in, you can go to the Assignments tab on the left, scroll down, and you'll see this one, the Little Field Capacity Analysis paper. Gives you some additional guidelines on the paper itself and submission instructions. But you'll notice a link up at the top here, a PDF file. You'll want to click on this. These are the formal instructions for the simulation. So if you look at this, you can see a lot of the material I showed you already, but it's going to give you a lot more detail. It's going to talk about how you use the simulation. I basically summarized what you need to know here, but you'll want to read through this because essentially all the rules, all the data that you need to know to be successful is located inside this document. So I think that's about it for now. Again, as always, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have suggestions or things like that, basically the idea is we want to work together and make this happen. You are, like I said in the email, a team of 1, so your ID and password will work as of the read-only date. So if you go in there tonight and try to log in, it won't work. But about the time that the simulation is ready, I'll send a mass email out and probably post it in the announcements as well to give you the actual URL, the web link that's going to take you to the simulation. Because I took the student roster, gave it to the admin folks at Lake Forest Graduate School of Management, and they're setting this up as I speak. So once that's set up, we'll get the URL out to you, and then on the read-only starting time and date, you'll be able to click on that URL, type in your ID and password, and be able to see, not change, but see the simulation. and start doing whatever you want to do to prepare. Doing your forecast, doing whatever. So, and also, as always, let me know. Give me a shout by email or call if you have any questions. So, good luck. I hope you have a great day, and talk to you in the future. Bye bye.